Good morning, students. So in today's class we will study the duties of auditor. As we know, auditor is an individual who is appointed to inspect the books of accounts of a company. Okay, the validity and accuracy of transactions contained therein. He also forms an opinion on the overall view of the financial statements, whether the statement depicts high degree of reliability and validity in compared with the unaudited statements. Okay, so today we'll see the various responsibilities, that is the duties performed by an auditor. So the first duty is duty to report. So the auditor should report to the shareholders on the accounts examined by him. The report so submitted shall contain whether in his opinion the P&L account referred to in his report exhibits the true and fair view of the profit and loss account. Okay, then he also gives his opinion regarding the balance sheet, then whether the loans made by the company are advanced against sufficient security. So he checks out whether whatever the loans that are being taken by the company, whether they are taken against secured advances or no. Okay, whether those are of any loss to the company. So he checks each and everything, then whether cash has actually been received on shares allotted for cash. Okay, so the auditor is appointed to keep a check on directors, and therefore he has to send his report to the members even though he might be appointed by the directors. Okay, as we have already seen in the beginning of this chapter. So the auditor is the agent of the shareholders to examine the accounts maintained, supervised by the directors, and to report them whether the directors have properly maintained the accounts or not. Okay, so the next duty of the auditor is to inquire. So he has to investigate regarding the loans and advances. Okay, whether the loans and advances made by the company on the basis of security have been properly secured, and whether the terms on which they have been made are not harmful to the interest of the company or its members. Okay, so he has to see to it that whether the loans and advances are made, those are in the interest of the company. Okay, they are not harmful to any parties of the company. Then whether the transactions of the company represented by book entries are not harmful to the interest of the company. So here he has to check each and everything. Okay, whether the terms are harmful to the shareholders or no. Okay, whether they are in the interest of the shareholders or no. So he has to keep a check on each and everything. Then he has to also check whether the loans and advances made by the company have been shown as deposits. Okay, so it's also possible that sometimes the companies, if they have taken loans and all, whether they have shown it as deposits. Okay, if they have shown it as deposits, then it is really very harmful, or it is really very it leads to loss to the company. Okay, so he has to check whether they are not, he has to see to it that they are not been entered in the deposits. Okay, then whether personal expenses have been charged to revenue account. So he has to inquire, he has to investigate these following aspects. Okay, so the next one is duty to certify the statutory report. Okay, so it is the duty of the board of directors to send the statutory report to the members, okay, to each and every shareholders of the company before 21 days of the AGM, that is the annual general meeting. So what the contents of the, he has to check the contents of the statutory report. Okay, so what are the contents of the statutory report? So the statutory report has shares allotted. Okay, it includes the shares allotted, then cash received, then name of the directors, auditor's name, manager's name, secretary's name. Okay, then the various contracts which are being entered by the company. Okay, then underwriting contract. Okay, then arrears of calls, then commission and brokerage to directors and to the managers of the company. So these are the contents of your statutory report. So the auditor should certify the contents of the statutory report. He has to check the contents properly. Okay, this is applicable to the company limited by shares. So in the subject, that is SP, you have studied the various companies. So company limited by shares is there, and even company limited by guarantee is also there. So company limited by shares is nothing but here the profit is used by shareholders as their personal income, whereas in company limited by guarantee it is been used for the charitable purpose. Okay, so profit is used for further charitable aims. So here he has to certify the statutory report. Okay, so the statutory report shall be certified as correct by at least 2 directors. Okay, and statutory auditor certifies that the content of the reports are correct related to shares, etc. Okay, so he has to certify the statutory report. Then the next one is duty to certify P&L account in a prospectus. So if the existing company is going to issue the shares, at that time they have to issue the prospectus. So the prospectus should contain minimum, okay, at least 5 years P&L account. Okay, P&L account of previous 5 years showing the rate of dividend paid each year. Okay, so and the statement has to be certified by the auditor of the company. So he has to state properly whether the P&L account which is being shown in the prospectus is right or no. Okay, so he has to certify that P&L account along with the rate of dividend which is being given by the company. Then the next one is duty to assist investigator or the inspector. Okay, so it is the duty of an auditor to assist the inspectors in every possible way. So in the company there will be investigators also. Okay, whereas here what the auditor does is he checks the financial aspects of the company, whereas the investigators or the inspectors, they check the different activities of the company as well along with the audited statement. So whenever the investigator asks something, okay, if he requires assistance, at that time the auditor should give the assistance to the investigator as well. Okay, so here during the process of investigation, if the investigator asks for working papers which are being prepared by the auditor, at that time the auditor should not refuse to give those papers. Okay, so he should freely give those working papers to the investigator. He has to show the working which is being made by him. Okay, so these are the duties of an auditor which he has to perform towards the company. Okay, so that's it for the day. Thank you. See you in the next class.